Welcome to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Registrar of Deeds of Plymouth County. This show is about Plymouth County real estate. Our headline for the month was Slow Trend in Real Estate Begins the Fiscal Year. Our fiscal year began on July 1st, and we're reporting on the numbers in July of 2022. The show is being taped in August. We're doing a summary of the recordings at the Registry of Deeds, and we're going to start with deeds. However, I have a great guest coming on in the second segment of the show, Eileen Cain of Cain Group, William Ravis Real Estate, and a segment after that on some of our great county and colony history. So let's go back to deeds. So the number of deeds, the sale of property in Plymouth County, dropped a little bit from the prior month. There were 802 deeds as compared to 936 deeds in the prior month. The number of deeds year to date actually have dropped by 13% over the year to date, and that's really a sign of the market that we're in right now. We're facing a lot higher interest rates than we've had in the last 7 or 8 years, and I think that has impacted some people's decision on whether to go forward with a purchase, and I think we're going to see that going forward. So the next image you're going to see is of sales of property. We have 27 communities in Plymouth County, alphabetically from Abington to Whitman. Clearly the higher number communities are Plymouth and Brockton, but we've seen activity everywhere, but it is going to reflect this month and into the future about a little bit of a slowdown in the marketplace, and I think it combined with the shortage of inventory, we're going to see a little slower trend going forward. The biggest impact on what we've seen with the interest rates are mortgages. While we had a lot of refinances in past months, certainly last year, the refinance market has basically disappeared with the higher interest rates, and we had 1,578 mortgages in July, less than the 1,811 in June, but 40% less than last July, and year to date down 43%. Those numbers you'll see continuing in months to come. We've always talked about foreclosure deeds, particularly from the crisis in 2008. There were only 7 foreclosure deeds in July. There was a moratorium in place during COVID that pretty much has not been caught up with by the lender. And although you'll start to see a lot more foreclosures in the newspapers, in the legal section, the numbers are still very, very low. However, they were so low last year that when you compare the numbers now to last year, they're up 45%. And the other one that is very interesting to track, the first document we see at the registry regarding foreclosures are foreclosure notices. And again, those are lower than years before, although they're creeping up. There were 39 foreclosure notices in July, higher than the 29 in June. And as I told you, when you compare it to almost nothing, it was 388% higher than last July and 150% more year to date. You're going to see a listing of orders of notice in foreclosure deeds by each one of our 27 communities, and those are showing a lot of zeros. And that's a good thing, but we'll see those go up in the future. I think people ought to recognize that there's a lot of people out there trying to take advantage of homeowners, particularly elderly homeowners. They'll mail out flyers to the elderly saying we can get a copy of your deed to you for $75, $85, $95. And in fact, you can get a copy of it for $1 a page at one of our 3 offices, our Plymouth office, Brockton office, or Rockland office. So don't get caught into that kind of thing. And we offer a free property fraud alert. If you go to the registry's website, plymouthdeeds.org, and go to resources, you'll find property fraud alert. You can sign up with that, put in your email, and anytime there's something recorded against your name, you will get an email, and you can decide whether it's something like a discharge that should have been recorded or something that you need to follow up with. So something very easy to do and something I would recommend in these crazy times that we're in right now. And we're going to make a move in segment 2 to a very well-known, experienced realtor, Eileen Cain of the Cain Group, William Ravis Real Estate, and she'll be discussing from her perspective the status of the Plymouth County real estate market and some tips for buyers and sellers. So we'll see you in the next segment. Welcome back to the Register Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. This segment of the show, we always do something educational in nature. We've had surveyors, appraisers, commercial real estate brokers, but above all else, we've had realtors, because realtors are the on-the-ground individuals that know what is happening in the real estate market. And I have a great realtor with me today.
Thank you, John.
I have Eileen Cain of the Cain Group, William Ravis Real Estate, and you've been a guest on other programs before, but I want to welcome you to PAC TV.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about how you got into this real estate?
20 years ago now, I decided to, my late father-in-law was a realtor, and I decided to try it and see what it was all about. And I've been a full-time real estate agent for almost 20 years now.
Great.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about your company. First, the Cain Group, and then William Ravis.
Yeah, so the Cain Group is just a small team, which is under the brokerage William Ravis Real Estate. And William Ravis has been existing for 42 years. The founder started with 1 agent in his office, now has 9 states, 4,000 agents. As far as Massachusetts goes, we go from north to south and everything in between.
Wow. And is William Ravis still alive?
Yes, he is very much. Matter of fact, he's visiting Massachusetts as we speak, and he'll be in our office next week. He's still alive, and he is unbelievably involved in his company.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our current real estate markets. Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting market right now.
Yes.
Compared to where we've been over the last couple of years.
Yes.
And why don't you describe for our viewers how you see the market at this point in time?
For today, being August, we see a slow time.
Right.
We had a great spring, really robust spring. A lot of sales happened. There was an increase, of course, in the interest rates. That's no surprise or secret to anybody watching this. Has it caused a problem yet? No. We are slow due to the time of year. We'll see what happens in the fall. It's more expensive to buy a house right now with interest rates increased from a 3 to almost a 6. Mm-hmm. A big jump in somebody's monthly mortgage payment. However, transactions do happen every day, and they will continue to do so.
So there have been some signs we talked about earlier of a little bit of a change in terms of demand. And you can probably best count that by the number of heads you have at every open house.
Yeah. Open houses are not bringing 100+ people. We are seeing longer days on the market. I had an agent call the other day and asked why a listing was on the market for 36 days, as if it was 360. Why? And no big question there. The deal had fallen apart with buyer financing on one, and we're back onto back on the market, but we didn't see that a lot. Buyers were so anxious to get into a property that their tolerance level was very high. We're now seeing a little bit of pickiness or uncertainty. It's hard to identify, what is happening, why the demand is slowed down a little bit. Inventory still depleted. I have a house in Hingham on the market. It's the only home available from 450 to 650. One.
Wow.
We've been doing open house the last couple of days, and we'll continue to. However, time will tell where that lands.
So what would your advice be to a potential seller?
Still do all the right things. Still get the house cleaned. Still paint the pretty color, that's so desirable. And you're still going to get a very good price for your home. Nothing has changed that way. If you have a desire to be somewhere else, then put your house in the market and go.
Mm-hmm. Has there been an increase in people looking to move that have been in higher space downsizing, or are people frozen like they've been in the past?
They're trickling in.
Okay.
We've got a lot of sellers who want to sell. They just don't know where to go. Mm-hmm. So if they haven't identified a home yet down the Cape, down Florida, in the Carolinas, they're saying to me, find me something. Even a temporary rental, the rental market's so expensive. It's not conducive for them to move. And a lot of times at your retirement age, you don't want to move twice. So if you don't already have that property to go to, there still is hesitation, and that is what's causing the inventory to stay as low as it is.
So let's talk on the other side of it. Guidance for a prospective buyer?
Yeah. So, good news, we're seeing home inspections again.
Yeah, that's smart
right?
thing to do.
When the market was so depleted, and the demand was so high and the competition was so high, they were waiving home inspections or doing home inspections after the closing just to be able to get an idea of what they bought.
Yeah.
We're now seeing home inspections, and I like it. I mean, if you've cared for your home,
right,
then there's nothing to be afraid of.
Well, you want to know what you're getting into.
You want to know what you're getting into, and I think that a buyer should have that right.
Right.
And a seller shouldn't fear such a thing, unless they haven't maintained their home. And if something comes up, it can be negotiated and worked out, fixed. Deals don't die over home inspections. There may be some adjustments, but it's an educating platform. That's what a home inspection is.
And your recommendation on pre-approvals?
A must. Pre-approval really needs to, involve, you've checked their employment, you've checked their credit, you've checked what's in the bank. You're all ready to go before, a lender will actually pre-approve. Your pre-qual and a pre-approval are two different things. We like to see that the lender has done their homework and that the buyer is actually ready to go. And there'll be no surprises for them or the seller heading toward the closing.
And are you still seeing people doing the home buyers class?
Yes, definitely, because there's some discounts, when you do that. So that's great for them to do.
So where do you see the market going over the next, through the end of the calendar year for starters?
No big changes for the end of the calendar year. Again, because the inventory is so low, it's not going to drive prices down. The demand is going to be there still. So transactions are going to happen. I just hope that we continue to get some more inventory for buyers to buy. We have a lot of buyers still in the marketplace.
And my biggest change that I have seen in the work that realtors do has been the technology upgrades that you operate with.
Yeah.
And you want to explain the change that you've gone through?
Well, again, social media, we just talked about that as a must. Things are easier as far as digital signatures. You're not writing to a seller anymore. You're not writing to a buyer. You can Zoom your conversation. You can list a house without ever walking in it. You can deposit a check through various companies. So that part has really helped.
Changed,
yeah, but you kind of miss the face-to-face communication a little bit, but it does allow you to do more transactions quicker. With less driving around.
But as long as they're doing a home inspection, they're protecting themselves.
Yes. Yeah, educating themselves and protecting and potentially protecting themselves.
Right.
But again, I really strongly want to say, home inspection is to just educate a buyer, not a chance to go in and say, we're going to offer this price, we'll get them at the inspection. That's not it. You want to buy the home, but you want to be educated.
So I'm always a big promoter of first-time home buyers. Why don't you talk a little bit about difficulties and recommendations you might have for somebody out there watching the show that wants to get into the marketplace. They know renting is not the answer long term.
Yeah, yeah. We're seeing FHA programs really come back. We weren't seeing that. A lot of conventional loans, and now we're going back to seeing a lot of FHA loans, which is great. So for a first home buyer, again, just to align yourself with a realtor who's going to work on your behalf, who you're going to have an agency agreement with, that is educated on the market, and that will work really on your behalf. Homeownership is not awarded to everybody, but it should be. Prepare, save financially. You can still put your 3.5% down, but with the rising interest rate, your mortgage is going to be higher. The less money that you put down. Anything more that I'm not answering on that as far as first home buyers?
I think you're right. I just always feel as if in this market, those people have taken the biggest hit.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of their own ability to move forward with their lives and having their own space,
Right.
and having the ability to be able to build equity, which you do not do when you rent.
You do not. So we're seeing a lot of parent contribution. Sorry for the parents out there that don't want to contribute. Less of a wedding, more of a deposit towards homeownership.
Interesting.
Big weddings, COVID has shown that maybe not necessary, but we are seeing parental contribution. And my own daughter will see this as well, the show, which has helped. I think after COVID, two parents are like, listen, give them to them now.
Great.
Let's help with the deposit money. But they can do it on their own as well. Just know your numbers. Know your debt to income ratio. Educate yourself. My youngest buyer was 20 years old. He is still in the home. They have added on. It was awesome to see.
Wow.
And it was a competitive
mature
market as well. But again, if you have a strong agent representing you, you can get that deal done.
Okay, last words of wisdom?
For first home or for everybody?
Everybody.
Homeownership is, again, not awarded to everybody, but achievable. And there's really, there's nothing like love where you live. Don't settle because the market isn't giving you exactly, what you want. And again, just align yourself with a team that's going to get you to where you want to be. And if you're selling, the same thing.
Great. Thank you very much. You've always done a good job.
Thank you.
Explaining the mechanics of it and bringing some people hope. Please stay with us. In the next segment, we'll be talking about some of our great county history as well as a colonial record that you'll find very interesting. Welcome back to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I want to thank Eileen Cain for the great job she did. Realtors are the people on the ground, and Eileen Cain of Cain Realty Group and William Ravis Real Estate has been working as a realtor for a period of time, understands the issues for buyers and sellers, and understands the complicated market we're in right now. But this segment of the show is a little lighter in nature. We talk about a great county history and even a very interesting colonial record. Some of the holidays for the month that we've gone through and will go through. International Beer Day on the 5th. National Lighthouse Day was on the 7th. National Radio Day on the 20th. National Dog Day, a lot of dog people out there, on the 26th, and Women's Equality Day on the 26th. But let's go right to one of our great stories in our Plymouth County records. And I say it's National Lighthouse Day this month. We are on the water for almost 13 of our 21 communities. And so we have a lot of lighthouses. And this particular lighthouse has a great history. Situate Lighthouse on Cedar Point in Situate, a great place to visit. They have benches there that you can bring a sandwich to and watch the boats come in and out. But the lighthouse itself has a great history. The United States government opened a lighthouse at Cedar Point in 1811. Simeon Bates was the first lighthouse keeper. So in the summer of 1814, Simeon was away. He left his daughters, Rebecca and Abigail, in charge of the lighthouse. And what appears on the horizon? British ships, British frigates. And they were looking to enter Scituate Harbor. It was during the War of 1812, and they were wreaking havoc on coastal communities. So those two young girls gathered together some of the townsmen, and they took up a fife and drum, and they convinced the British sitting offshore that there was a militia mustering there, and they went away thinking they were coming upon some kind of a difficult situation. They beat a hasty retreat, and thus began the legend of the America Army of Two. Scituate Lighthouse is now owned and operated by the Scituate Historical Society, and over the years have offered tours to see that. And there are still stories on a windy, foggy day that people still hear the songs and sounds of the fife and drum. Great place to see. And so we have another lighthouse, also in Scituate, Minot's Ledge Light. Minot's Ledge Light is also known as Lover's Light because of its flash, 143, I love you. So Minot's Ledge Light was built in 1860, 1 mile offshore from the town of Scituate. After the first lighthouse was washed away, a second one was constructed and stands today. There were many shipwrecks in that area, and that generated the light. The lighthouse service created the lighthouse based on the great need of loss of lives and crashes. But on May 1st, 1894, a new flashing lantern was installed with that characteristic, 143. The light is built on Minot's Ledge, a 25-foot rocky outcropping, and it is 114 feet tall. And the property was sold by the federal government. It is now in private ownership. The next notable record we're going to see, we always like to talk about a long-standing tradition in Plymouth, Priscilla Beach Theater. It's gone through some reincarnations over the years, but it is the oldest barn summer stock theater in America, and it was a training facility for many Broadway stars. Since 1937, thousands of people have seen shows there. And when the Trask family bought the Taylor estate, they converted the barn into a theater. So Paul Newman, Rob Reiner, Dan Blocker, Al Brooks, Monty Hall, Sandy Dennis, many stars got their start there at that training. It's a hands-on training process, and currently has been under new ownership, and they continue to put on great theater even today. And last but not least is a Colonial record that tells an interesting story. It is in Court Orders, Volume 1, page 200, and it was May 27th, 1639, Mr. John Coombe actually borrowed money. And as collateral for the money, he offered a cow. And so specifically in the records, it is called one brown cow named Bessie. And Bessie was the collateral for a personal loan. And Bessie was actually used again for collateral in a subsequent loan. And I told that story to a bunch of lenders at a Brockton Housing Partnership, and one of the lenders said, "Oh, that's the first evidence of a used cow loan." So every once in a while we get to tell a story that's a little different from the seriousness of our real estate records, but I love to be able to tell the little side stories with some of these things. We have the Colonial records at the Registry of Deeds, not only deeds, but wills. We have the will of Miles Standish. We have the laws that establish the right to trial by jury in the original handwriting of the colonists. They're really great things to see. We're starting to open it up a little bit post-COVID, but you still need an appointment. Call our office, we can get you in. We've been able to accommodate many historians, many genealogists, many people just interested in their Plymouth pilgrim roots that we've been able to take care of, and we'll be able to do that a little more as things have lightened up. So I want to thank Lorna Green Baker and Christine Richards from her office for helping me put this show together. I want to thank all the staff here at PAC TV. I'm looking at Donna Rodriguez right now, manning the camera. You allow us to tell the story, what for most people is their most valuable asset, and ways to protect it, as well as ways to know what's happening in the real estate market. So that was a great opportunity to tell these stories. I hope you have a great end of the summer. I know people are going back to school. That changes everyone's life, but we'll see you in next segment next month. Thank you.